Hello creative friends, this is Joy coming to you with a video of a product review of some new markers that I got. I got these markers, I'm not sure how to pronounce them, Ohuhu, O-H-U-H-U, that I bought, and they have both a bold tip and a more smaller detailed tip on them. And so I just grabbed this book here, this coloring book that I have, and I've got several of these, but funny thing is I've not really ever colored any of them because, I do my own journal pages, drawings, and whatnot. But I thought I would try it in this to see how they worked. I tried the one markers, and then I also have some Tombow markers, so I'm trying those in this coloring book and seeing how those work. And the Tombow are also the dual tip markers. They have the broad tip and then the smaller, more detailed tip. And I'm playing with these on this, in this coloring book here, as you see, just to see how they performed and whether they soaked through the paper or not. And so I'm just coloring a few of these flowers just to kind of get an idea of how they work and how well they perform. So I'm using the markers, and you can see the Ohuhu soak through the paper, but these Tombows seem to do a much better job using it in these coloring books, which has thinner paper in them. As you can see with the heart shape on the left side, you can kind of see even the print of what's on these pages through the page. So the Tombows seem to work better than the Ohuhus. That's how you say it. If it's not, please let me know. I don't know. I found these markers and they seem like a good buy for this big set of markers in a bag. So I decided to get them. So I grabbed one of my smaller art journals that has heavier paper, and this has got mixed media paper, and decided to draw a picture and color it with the markers to see how it performs in a mixed media journal that has thicker paper. And so I found this picture of this little blue bird in a magazine, and I'm just quickly sketching out the bird on this art journal page, and trying to get the proportions right, or at least close. And then I'm going to use the markers to actually color this little bird and the little things that he's standing on, which I'm not sure what those are. So I decide to color him with this set of markers that I received, or that I purchased, and to see how they perform on this thicker paper. So I selected a couple of different colors of blue, and this is the lighter blue that I'm using to kind of outline where it looks like that there would be highlights on the bird. And then I go back with a little bit darker color blue to add color around the bird in a darker blue. And again, these have the dual tip, the broad tip and then the smaller tip. And so I'm able to really get in there and, get some detail when I want to, but also cover a larger area with the broad tip when I have a larger area that I want to cover. So here I'm going in with a darker shade to try to add in where the darker colors are, and then I get the medium and I go over the whole bird with the medium color. And I'm, switching back and forth between the broad tip and the more detailed tip so that I can get in those little areas and still, I didn't want to completely cover up like the other colors that I put down. I still wanted to be able to retain, the lighter color for the highlights and the darker colors for the shadows. And then just get this mid-tone in there to color the rest of the bird. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm avoiding the area that, and I'm adding some hatching to make it somewhat look like there's some texture there of feathers. And I'm avoiding the area where I want to add like the orange there to his belly and around his neck. So adding the eye and leaving a white spot for the highlight. And then I'm grabbing this color that's kind of it's not really an orange, but it's not really a brown, to color his belly. And again, I'm avoiding, the white areas that I want to leave on the belly of the bird. And here I'm using a darker brown on some of the areas to add more detail and to color his little feet. You can see here that these markers did bleed through this paper, which, I guess, it's not that big of a deal. I don't typically in my art journals put anything on the other side anyway. And I'm using this tan color to color these weeds. I don't know what they are. And then a little bit darker brown to add some spikes to these weeds. But these particular markers are really, really juicy. And they, even with this thicker paper, bled through. But again, I mean, I don't think it's that big of an issue because I don't plan on doing anything on the other side of this picture anyway. So I grab my white pencil or my white pen, and then I'm just going back into some of the areas to just add some more highlights around the bird, the top of the head, the face, the feathers. And so putting some hatch marks on its belly with the white so it looks more like, feathers on his belly. Lightening up areas of the wings where I wanted to see more highlight. But all in all, I mean, I think these, I like these markers. I think they performed really well. I mean, I like the way that this bird, turned out. It turned out, I thought, pretty cool. They are, again, really juicy, so it's like I just have to make sure that I use, thick paper when I'm working with these markers so that it doesn't, bleed. If they bleed through, which they did on this, then it doesn't bleed through. I don't put something on the back so that whatever I put on the back is going to be ruined by these markers bleeding through. So just adding a few more touches and details. Yep, they bled through pretty juicy. So then I decided I was going to try the dual tip brush Tombow, the different picture, and I found this face of a girl and decided to use that as a reference to draw a face on this in this art journal, to again test those out in the art journal to see how they perform. So I do a quick sketch of this face, and it was, I don't know why I chose this face. I always like to choose faces, it seems like, that are interesting, that is an interesting and different pose, but but it typically, you know, when I go to actually draw them, ends up being a more difficult position and pose to draw. I don't know why I do that, but I do. It's like I always seem to pick the positions and poses of faces, and you know, that seem to be the most complicated to draw. But anyway, I guess because they're, you know, the most interesting to me, as opposed to just your typical kind of straight on looking at someone um, kind of pose or face. So yeah, I had to make a few adjustments to this to get the proportions and everything, you know, to where I felt like that they were good. Um, I probably fussed with this just a little bit longer than I probably should have. I probably should have picked something, a different picture that was a little bit less complicated, I guess. But, you know, all in all, I mean, by the time I finished drawing this or coloring this, I was pretty happy with it. So this particular set of Tombow markers is supposed to be, as you see on the package there, 4 faces. It's supposed to give you the different shades and colors to be able to color faces. So I wanted to test that out to see how well these performed and how they turned out. Now, I am not proposing that I am an expert by any means in using markers and coloring or even drawing faces. To be honest, I'm fairly new at drawing faces. It's something that I continue to practice and, you know, try to improve upon because, you know, I'm new to faces. I can draw animals. I can, you know, I feel more confident, I should say, in drawing animals than I do faces. Faces is a fairly recent thing for me. So um, my face doesn't exactly turn out like it shows on that package. On the package, it shows a colored face that's very smooth and blended, and mine didn't quite turn out that way. So I started with the darkest color, and I put those darker colors in. Then I came in with the next darkest color and added that color in, and then the next and the next. So I'm going from darkest to lightest and trying to blend everything together um, on this face. But in the end, and here's the lightest color, I'm just going over the whole face. But in the end, it kind of come out, I don't know how you say, kind of, I don't want to say splotchy, but yeah, I guess it was kind of a splotchy look. And I, you know, it's like I put on one color, it's too yellow. I put on another, it's too pink. So I'm trying to figure these out and how to get the two colors blended together so it's not too pink or too yellow. But like I said, I ended up just going back and forth playing with these markers and getting to a point where I was, you know, somewhat happy with, you know, the outcome. But yeah, you can see, you know, where you can see the brush strokes of the markers. And I'm adding in the eyebrows. And I apologize for my clock. It always seems to ring at the most opportune time here. Outlining the face and the lips. I just felt like it needed some more definition in the hair. And I grabbed my other set of Tombow markers because I wanted to make her eyes, you know, different color because they didn't have the colors in there that I would have liked to have. So here's a blender. This is supposed to be a blender. I think I tried that, but that didn't seem like it was working to blend anything. And I wanted her lips pink, as you can see there. And let's see. So you can see like I was saying, the brush marks, and I don't know that if this was like probably the best, might not have been the best paper to use for this, because they did soak into the paper. But I do have another pad that I had bought that's supposed to be for markers like this that you'll see me here in a minute try out to see if that works any better. So I grabbed the black. Here's another set of Tombos that I purchased that has different shades of gray and black to give the more detail in her eyes and her eyelashes, and just trying to finish up the eyes there. But I mean, for someone that's like not really done this before, and it's not really that great at faces, I mean, I was okay with the results. I was happy in the end with the results, and I'm trying to smooth out some of those splotchiness to the face with these colors. But I do love the Tombow markers. I mean, I thought they were, see, there's the blender. It's supposed to blend, but it's not doing anything. At least it didn't seem like it was doing anything for me. I don't know why, but. So then I got my white pen and was trying to clean up where I had went over the edge. Tried a couple of different white pens, but they weren't working. I think my Posca pen finally covered up where it was smudged. And I was going to leave the paper white, but then I ended up deciding to go back over it with with blue, and said, oh, the heck with it, I'm just going to color around her with the blue marker. So I grabbed a blue marker and colored around her with that. So that's what I'm doing here, and trying to use the fine tip to get around her face and the details of her eyelashes and stuff. And then I just kind of scribble that out a little bit. So like I said, it looks kind of sketchy, and you can kind of see the brush strokes, but I do like the Tombow marker. So then I got this that's supposed to be for marker. It's a marker pad. The paper is really thin. I was like, so I put something under it because I'm like, I don't know. I mean, the Tombow didn't seep through the mixed media paper, the hoo-hoo, or however you say that, did. So I was like, well, as thin as this paper is, it's almost like tracing paper. I can't see how markers aren't going to soak through it. But I decided to try that, and to test out this Primacolor markers. This is another set I bought on this paper to see how they performed. So yeah, I guess I kind of went, a little crazy buying markers, but I've been seeing everybody, or a lot of people, doing lots of things with markers, and I wanted to start doing more detailed drawings and art journals and those kinds of things. And I felt like that the markers was the way to help me get the details and stuff that I would like to get. I mean, I usually use paint, but certainly would like to start using markers and stuff. So these are also dual tip. There's a broad tip, and then there's a pointy tip, and for more detail work. So I'm going through, and I found another picture of a bird that I thought I would quickly trace on here and then color with the markers. And it's like an orange colored cardinal. So I'm putting in the lighter color, I'm putting in the shadows, which is what I'm doing with this darker marker here. Trying to add some detail and definition to his feathers, and trying to
get some texture in there. He seems to be, seems to be like light hitting him from the left. So then I come back and try to go over everything with a medium color marker that seemed like the medium tone for this bird over the darker colors that I laid on him. And instead of trying to do it in sections like I did with the face and the bluebird, I just am trying to cover the whole thing, but leaving the side with the highlight, and then come in with even a brighter color, and then using that to go over the whole thing to try to get it all of it to blend in together. And getting his little feet in there. Adding some more detail with the darker brown and tracing around him. And so, I had fun playing with these markers. I mean, I'm looking forward to using them more in, my art journals and having fun with them. I like the idea that I have a broad tip to cover a big area, and I have the more detailed tip to be able to get more details into my drawings. This particular paper, you'll see here in a minute, it just as I suspected, it was pretty thin, and the markers did soak through, and you could see on the other side that the markers soak through. But again, I mean, I'm not going to try to draw or put anything on the opposite side on the other side, so I'm not that concerned about it. And that was a blending pen I was trying to use to try to blend out some of the markers, and I didn't see where it really made much of a difference. I don't know why that is. The blending pens just don't seem to be, you know, working for me. I don't know if I'm not using them right, but I can't imagine they would be that complicated to figure out. I wanted some more orange in him, so I'm going back in with orange and trying to add some more orange to this little bird. And getting a little bit orange on his feet, and then grab my Posca pen to add the little white in his eye and other highlights on him. I figured that was probably the best way to get the highlights on him is using my Posca pen. I could have used the my white pen, but yeah, I decided to use the Posca pen. So I'm continuing to add details to this bird. As I finish up this video, this is pretty much the 3 journal pages I did as I review these 3 sets of markers, and I really like the way all 3 of them turned out. I think they all performed well. If you guys like this video, you can give me a thumbs up, or you can subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more, or you can leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I really enjoyed using all these markers, and I'm looking forward to using them in my art journal pages. I think that they're going to be a great addition to my supplies, and I think they all performed well, and they were all reasonably priced. And as you can see, the marker did soak through this paper as I had suspected, because the paper was kind of thin, but that's okay. I really like it. And I thank you guys again for stopping by, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.